What is good, everybody? What is good? What is good? I wanted to jump in here for a quick minute. I just finished a walk and was listening to my favorite auntie, Miss Auntie Anita. I guess she calling herself Triple A, AAA. I guess Aunt Anita. I guess I don't know. Anyway, so listen, I'm gonna play a little bit of her conversation here, the remnants of it, part that I really stuck out to me. Pause right here.
Like, ladies, seriously, put that on your to-do list. I need to work on being quiet. I need to work on biting my tongue more. I need to work on minding my business. If my opinion was not asked, don't give it. Y'all need to work on that. Okay? Because like I said, I require healthy male leadership. It's a whole lot of stuff I don't want to put my thoughts and opinions on. I really don't. Like, what are we doing? Where are we going? What time are we going? Blah blah blah. I don't want to plan. Can I be honest? I don't want to plan. I don't want to think. I want to go off and enjoy my time with you. I want you to have, put something together. I want to feel safe and secure. And as long as those boxes are checked, we good. I feel safe. I feel secure. I trust you. We good. But see, if that's not the case, then now you need to check yourself, right? Because what are you doing with somebody that you don't feel safe and secure with? What are you doing with somebody you don't trust? And again, y'all hate the responsibility of being a good gatekeeper, but it falls squarely on your shoulders, ladies. Your number one responsibility is to be a good gatekeeper. That's it. You don't have a whole lot of jobs, but that's
All right, so we're back. So you heard her say it, man. And what gets me is this idea of, I don't know if there's real resistance to male leadership and to, I'm really curious as to what this is all about, because I came up. I listen to brothers in the red pill space, particularly black manosphere type of stuff. I know that's kind of a bad word and all that, but you got to check this stuff out. And they have this idea that a lot of ladies, particularly in the black community, have not grown up with a lot of male presence. Male presence, number one, and number two, male leadership, right? Or they have been inept in some way. And that's just not been in my experience. I grew up in the Northeast. The church that I went to was heavily male dominated by the men anyway. Women are always going to outnumber men in church, but the males were in leadership. The principal at my school, and I recognize this is very rare. I grew up in the 1970s, right? I graduated from grammar school in 84 maybe, something like that. And he was a black man as the principal of the school. So this stuff that there's things going on here about male leadership that I can't identify with. I cannot identify with the lack of male leadership because I saw it in my church members and in school. And when I got to middle school, right, we had grammar school and we had middle school. When I got to middle school, right, I had a black male science teacher in 7th grade, and it's always been more white people, but this idea of insufficient black male leadership isn't something that I can identify with. Maybe this was going on in the South or the Midwest or the West, and it could just be my experience, but the people I grew up around, and even though I tell a story all the time. I had strong uncles who led their family. My grandfather was alive and led his family. For the most part, he's an older guy, right? He and my grandmother did not live together, which was I didn't realize that was odd until I was a grown man. I was probably 20 years old. Like, my grandmother doesn't live together. But they were still married, and they took pictures together. She came over and cooked for Thanksgiving and all that stuff. So even though they couldn't get along in the same house, they still loved each other and still were married to each other. It was something. So this idea of incompetent male leadership, I am not familiar with that. I'm not familiar with that. In particular, black male leadership, right? Men who couldn't accomplish things, right? And the men in my church, right? I mean, a couple of times I remember that, like, we had those one of those Pentecostal rocking churches, right? And sometimes we'd be in church on Friday night and people would call the police on us and stuff. Then the police would come in there. White police officers would come in there, and the pastor of the church would go out there and have a conversation with them, tell them to take their hats off in the house of God, and all this kind of stuff, right? So, I mean, so I can't identify with a lot that is what it said. I'm not denying the validity of what they say, and actually, I believe a lot of what they say. I'm just saying that it wasn't my experience. I believe a lot of what they say. I think the literature, as far as academically, is pretty sound than what I've read. But I want to tie this into Miss Anita and these women who, I don't want to say it like that, these women, but there are a lot of women who I think don't understand male leadership and what that can do. And I remember I had a conversation. It was on my platform before. I had a lot of stuff that was corrupted. And somehow it got real laggy on YouTube, so I had to take it all down. But I had a conversation with a woman. We're still friends today, but she didn't understand the concept of leadership. Like, why somebody got to lead the relationship? Where are we going? What are you talking about? And I could tell that, like, what do you mean? What do you mean somebody's not leading the relationship? Somebody's got to make a decision. We can make a decision where we're going, where we're going to live, what we're going to spend vacations on, how much we're going to save, or whether we're going to buy rental properties. Somebody's going to make these decisions. We got to lead and guide the kids, what school they're going to go to, what college they're going to go to. I don't understand how this is not. But I think that if you don't grow up around male leadership, you don't understand. You don't understand how that affects psychology and upbringing and all that. And so, and the woman, she's a successful person. She's a master's degree and all that, but she just wasn't interested in that dynamic of having a man lead her. And I'm not saying that every woman needs that in all this. You do what's best for you, but I don't know what that looks like enough. And I listen to people, and I try to listen to individuals. There's another lady. I'll try to put the screenshot up here. She does a phenomenal job of breaking down matriarchal societies. I don't know what her credentials are, but I just think she did a phenomenal job. And there are still some, contrary to popular belief, there are some matriarchal societies that exist here in 2024. But I don't think that they are. I think they exist in obscure parts of Africa and stuff, right? They're obviously not on the world stage as political movers and shakers and all that. So what I'm saying is that I don't know what that looked like, that to not have strong male leadership. I don't know what that looks like on a stage that we live in. I know that people want to try to bring us there, but where does that bring us to? What? So I wanted to talk about that in just a little bit there. This male leadership dynamic, a dilemma that we're dealing with, and Miss Anita says it right. And first of all, and to the women who would say, I don't trust male leadership, I don't like male leadership, I don't need male leadership. Okay, well, if you don't need it, you don't like it, But if you don't trust it, I would think that's because you haven't had anyone who's been solid and strong and knew what they were competent in what they were doing. There's vast number of reasons why men have been held back, handicapped, all that, but particularly black men. And that's worthy of exploration. I think you should explore. Why wasn't your father around, or why wasn't he allowed to make the decision making? Why didn't he make good decisions and things? Right? I think that needs to be explored from a male perspective and from a human perspective. What stops people's growth in life? Right. So yeah, I think that's important to understand, where this comes from and why you developed a mindset that says you don't want that and you don't need that. And if you're still, I'm not telling you to want it or not want it, but I'm just curious as to why. I'm curious as to why people would come up with that attitude, because I think that somebody's got to lead a family. I think that somebody has to be a final decision maker. Now, if you don't believe in the traditional nuclear family, mother, father, and all that, I mean, this obviously isn't for you, but if you believe that, then I think that somebody's got to make the final decision. And I don't believe that any woman who's got a man in her life really wants a feckless, inconsistent, in, incapable, feminized, what's the opposite of dominant there, right? Submissive type of man who doesn't know how to make a decision. I can't believe that anybody wants that. I can't believe that any woman would want that on her arm. And Miss Anita put it very much more nicely than I would have put it, right? She's saying you're the gatekeeper. I can't. Why would you lay down with a man who you don't respect in some type of leadership role? I don't understand. I don't understand that. I'm not a woman. I've never been a woman. Got to say that now, right? I've never been a woman. I don't understand how you could lay down with someone and never and don't respect any type of leadership dominant qualities as a woman laying down with a man. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. But Miss Anita put it. I'm resting this on her, and I even asked her in the comments section. Where does this come from? Where does this come from? How do we get here? Leadership qualities in men is vital to success in a capitalistic society primarily. But I mean, it's curious. This is why I think that anthropology is so fascinating. Like, what does that look like? What does that look like? And even yeah, I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around this. Like, what this would look like on a day-to-day basis inside of a home, inside of a community, in a society where men are not at least part of the decision-making process, in which a woman can look at this man and respect him, and then want to have his babies. I don't understand that. Maybe I need to read a little bit more. I don't know, but I can't imagine that. I don't think Miss Anita. Auntie Anita can imagine that either. But I think that this is something, man. This is something. And so I think that the way that she summed it up was absolutely perfect. That you are the gatekeeper. Why are you laying down with men? And I think that's even the question I asked when I told the story about the woman who was on my podcast. Like, how do you respect a man how do you crawl in bed with a man you don't respect? As far as leadership making decisions. And I would ask that for anyone. How does a woman, and I'm asking this sincerely, how does a woman crawl into bed, do the deed? We all know the physics of it. I mean, if you're mature, you know the physics of it. You know the physics of it. The anatomical ups and downs and in and outs. you know what it takes to do it. How do you allow somebody to do that and you don't respect their decision making? And I don't understand. And I don't understand that about. And I know that this is a thing. This is a thing. I think that Dr. T.S. Johnson calls it, husband sons, where they're a husband, but yet the women look at them as compromised and as a son. Don't let them make a decision. I know that there are plenty of women who are in relationships and marrying people who are in prison, and I'm trying to understand, how do you? So it is a thing, but how long can that last? How long can you continue to do the deed with this man, live with this man? Not, I'm telling you, it's not going to last. I could tell you a really good story, but it's too close to home, so I'm not going to tell the story. But I know it doesn't work from my own close inner circle dynamic. As I think about this now, it doesn't work. A man has to be a leader. A man has to be a leader. And if he's not, it'll be good for a little while. You'll enjoy the sex for a little while. It may be cute to go visit him when he's in jail or whatever. Or it may be cute to, but he's really compromised and not really doing anything. It's not going to last long. It's not going to last a year or two. It's not, because you start respecting him. The mind-blowing sex will be dried up because you don't respect him outside of the bedroom. So you have to become a leader. You have to become a leader. So to the men out there, You have to become a leader. At the minimum, lead your own home. Lead yourself. Lead yourself, lead your home, lead your children, um, and become the best version of yourself through training, practice, learning from your mistakes, reading, improving yourself, working out. You have to become a lead. You have to become a leader to gain any respect, to gain the respect of other men, and then to gain the respect of the women. That's the way that it is. And so to the ladies out there, you are the gatekeeper, and ask yourself a very valid question: why are you not gatekeeping your most precious item from the very people who you don't deem worthy of it? And I know part of the reason is because we have birth control pill the morning after, baby deletions, and all this kind of stuff. But if it weren't for that, if it weren't for that stuff, we would live in a vastly different society where women would be practicing and be practicing better gatekeeping. They would. They would. All right, so I'm gonna leave it up there. I just want to talk about that, the leadership. So to the men out there, become the best versions of yourself. Work and improve on your leadership skills and abilities. I'm not saying you have to go out there and be a boss about everybody or be bossy. But you should be able to make a plan, make a date, have a vision, a goal, a purpose. Be able to guide your family. Here's where we're going. This is the house we're going to live in. Here's how much more money we're going to put into our 401k for savings. Here's how much money we're going to put away to put our kids through school, to go on vacation. Here's what we're doing. Here's our investments. Yeah, you should do all that. If you can't do all that, you don't deserve a woman. And to the women out there, if he can't do all that, he don't deserve your body. He don't deserve your body. If he can't stimulate your mind and keep your mind there, right? You don't deserve it. It floors me every time I think about this. Every time I hear something like this. And I'm glad that Miss Auntie Anita says it. But I talk to women. I talk to women who are, particularly the more educated, more fluent women. I don't need a man. I don't you don't need to lead me. We're partners. We're cohabitating. We're co-equals. I don't even entertain women. I don't entertain women like that. I was on a dating apps for a little while. I'm going to do a video about dating apps. I don't even entertain them. I don't entertain them. Because if I say here's where we're going, this is where we're going. If I say this is what's going on, I'm the boss of you can't see my house, but I'm the boss of my house right there. Anybody's going to live with me. Anybody's going to live with me is going to live under my roof and under my authority. Because I'm the protector of my home. This is the way I think. Everybody's not thinking this way anymore, but I protect my house. I pay for the bills, and you're gonna live under my roof. I heard a preacher say, growing up in church and stuff, right? He said, anybody who's, his kids were starting to grow up and starting to smell themselves, as they would say. I think it was his son. Okay, and he's trying to tell the dad that he was a man. All right, well, you need to get out then, because I'm the only man that lives in my house. The only people that live in my house are my wife and my kids. So if you're not one of the kids, and you're not my wife, you can't live in my house. And I was a young guy when I heard that, 18, 19, 20. I adopted that same philosophy. You can't live in my house. I'm the only man. I am the only man that lives in my house. Wherever house I live at, I am the man in that house. And you cannot. And the only other woman that's going to live there is my woman or my wife. So even if my daughter moves in, you're not the woman of the house. There's only one woman that lives in this house. And you're not right now. If you got to come back home, you're a kid. You're a kid. If you got to come back home, you're a kid. And you're gonna act like a kid. There's rules, regulations, curfews. You're gonna be a kid. But in my house, I run it. And I am the boss in my house. This is the way that I think. And I think that everybody should think like this, but everybody doesn't. It's a new day, new time. I'm the boss of my house. And nobody's gonna live in my house but me. No men are gonna live in my house but me. You can't live here and be a man. Now, men control their own homes. So if you don't control your own home and you live back home, you're a kid. So, but that's my philosophy. So what's going on here, and I'm glad Miss Auntie Anita said it. I'm glad that she said it. But I don't understand. I don't understand weak men. I do understand weak men. I think that weak men were raised by weak women. And I think the weak men were raised by weak men who were dominated by their women. And we have to get that out of them. We have to get that weakness out of them. There was a video I was listening to. Maybe I'll clip it and put it in here. I don't know if I will or not. Because it's a clip of a clip, and I don't, I'll be the third one clipping it and stuff. But it was a podcast. I'll at least put, if I don't clip the whole thing, I'll at least put the picture of it so you can go watch the podcast. And this Riva, Rivah, she does some good work. And there's a video that she was reacting to. And so she put in there, it was a video that she was reacting to in which the woman was saying that she left a good man because he was lame and boring. This is why I always get on dudes who are educated and, this lame and boring thing. I'm going to really do some stuff to really address that. This lame, just because you're educated don't mean you have to be lame and boring. But eventually she said, what I think what was really missed, a good opportunity to talk about, was the fact that she said that she left him because number one, he's lame and boring, and because he didn't tell her to go sit down. Anytime she wanted to go out with a girl, he let her go out. He didn't put his foot down. It's key. That's her talking. I recognize this is not everyone. Everyone don't want this. No, it's not gonna work on everybody, but it's gonna work on the people it's gonna work on. And it's going to work on the people it's going to work on, and that's the way that people need to live and move. You need to control, as a man, you need to control your home, control your emotions, control your home, control your space in your job, control your temperament, your temper, be stoic. Don't ever let anybody knock off this stuff about opening up and all that. They don't want you to do that. I know that they say it, but they don't. Be stoic. Be controlling. Not in a demeaning, nobody else gets to say thing. Of course, your woman should have a say. Of course, listen to her opinion. But you have the final say. And listen, there's no need to put your hands on people. There's no need to be getting all crazy and all this. Listen, you just can't live here. These are the rules, and they're not going to bend. You're not going to be going out. You can't do this. You can't do that. You're not wearing that. Go change. I'll be waiting for you in the car. Go change. We're not having a discussion of what's wrong with that. How come you don't like? I'll see you in the car. Go change. That's what I said. And if you got a woman that you got to fight with like that, then you need to get rid of her. If you got a woman you got to fight with, what her going out, girls trips, what she wants to wear, get rid of her. That's leadership. Your boss not going to go back and forth with you every day. You're fired. The military's not going to tolerate that. All right, listen, you got to go. And you shouldn't tolerate that. Nobody else tolerates that. But we get in these marriages, in these relationships, situationships, and all of a sudden we think that we gotta go back and forth and argue with people and I gotta convince you and this, that. Not Big O. There's the door. There's the door. Men in leadership. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but whatever is going on, this ain't it. Thank you to Miss Auntie Anita. Thank you to Auntie Reva. I don't know if Reva's old enough to be auntie yet. I don't know. I don't know how old she is. You know, when you get older, right, you can't tell how old younger people are. Right? I'm 51 as I record this. This lady was talking about she was 40 years old. I'm like, I thought she was like 28. 40. You can't tell anymore. You can't tell. That's a real thing. It's a real thing. So let me know your thoughts, your opinions, right? Should men lead their homes? Should men step up? You know, would you follow a man who couldn't lead you? Or obviously not following, but would you be with a man? Probably a better way. Would you be with a man who couldn't lead you? And to a man, you don't got to be bossy and put your thing right. That type of overpowering, overbearing. That just means that you don't have any control. That's what it means. I have control. I have control because I pay the bills here, and you got to get out. I'm not gonna go back and forth. Here's what it is. All right. Well, I'm going to the comedy club. You can either come, and you're not wearing that. I mean, that's the way you got to be. And if they're not on your dime, on your program, then get rid of them. They're not on anybody who is not on your program as a man, as a leader, protector, provider. Someone even say priest. If they're not on those three, I think there's a fourth P in there: protector, provider, priest. I can't remember the other one. But if they're not on your program, and you're doing those things, not talking about doing them, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Why are you arguing with this? Why are you arguing with these people? Government mouth. Why are you arguing with these people? I'm not arguing with you. There's nothing to talk about. Because and this is the place that you need to get to. This is the place that you need to strive for. As long as you're talking, I have a video. Don't know if I released it yet. By the time I release this one, about 50-50. A daughter of mine were having a conversation about 50-50. You know, if you're not, listen, whatever's going to work for you and your situation. I recognize the economy has changed. I recognize jobs are not paying what they want. I recognize the vast majority of people are making $50,000 and below and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not telling you to be bossy and all this type of stuff. I'm not saying that, right? So if you're making $50,000 a year and your girl's making $50,000 a year, I'm not trying to emasculate you or tell you that you're less than. But I am saying that you should not be emasculated by anybody. And that you should lead, protect, and provide, and you should do what needs to be done in order to be the best version of yourself. And you should never be satisfied. And I do think. Here's what I do think. I'm not in everybody's home. I'm not in everybody's home, so I don't know. But here's what I think. I think that the vast majority of women really want their men to make more than them. Women generally want a man who is more than them, taller than them, makes more money, more dominant, and in charge, and a leader. I think that the vast majority of women I've met, I don't know any woman. I've never come across any woman. I saw one woman on one of those boom pop shows who was a tall woman who said she wanted her man shorter than her. But I would say I've seen other people who dated men shorter than them and stuff like that. So there are women who don't really care about that as far as the height thing, but the money thing and making more, and listen, and the more you struggle, right? If you're a 5'3" guy You better boss up as far as physically and as far as money wise. I mean, you got to boss up. So take it for what it's worth. But I think the vast majority of women, I'm talking 95% of women, want a man who's more than them, taller, stronger, faster, more dominant, makes more money, can control the environment, leader, at least of your home, at least of your. You don't gotta be a leader at work, right? But you gotta do something. All right, let me know your thoughts and opinions. This is way longer than I want it to be. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Much love and peace, everybody.